It's funny how protest is normalized and even celebrated in like American history books, but when it's actually going on in the moment, it's completely publicly denounced. When you don't say good morning and just jump right straight into it, whatever it is, I know it's going to be a good day. No time for small talk. The world is pissing me off. So true. You're talking about the protests for Gaza? Yeah, like people are crying about destruction of property, like they always do, like they did with Black Lives Matter protests. But the protesters are really the ones actually destroying property. Right, for the videos I've seen, is the oink oinkers who are usually doing most of the damage and inciting the violence. But that's a conversation we can have later when I've had coffee and maybe a Valium. Right. But back to your original point, like, even if the protesters were destroying property, physical property, like metal and glass, doesn't compare to thousands and thousands of actual human lives. Exactly. And even then, like, destruction of property goes along with the protests that I learned about growing up in school. Protests that were seen as good, resistance that was seen as doing something and making a change. Right, like the people who teach us that historically resistance works don't like when we remember that historically resistance works. Oh man, you get me so well sometimes. It's almost like we're the same person. I've always thought that. Yeah, but yeah, people act like it's un-American or even immoral to occupy public spaces, boycott goods and services, block commerce in order to protest an ongoing mass human rights violation. When in reality, we've always been taught that protesting things helps. Exactly. Like the civil rights movement. They occupied public spaces, they blocked commerce, they boycotted services. Right, and Rosa Parks and MLK and all the people who did sit-ins, they were assaulted by the police and arrested. The natural behavior for the uniformed pig. So true. But like, even with the establishment violently oppressing these people, they're still considered heroes when we learn about them. Exactly. And if we're talking about destruction of property, there's also the Boston Tea Party. Boston Tea Party makes me so mad because they literally blocked commerce and destroyed property. Right, they like threw it in the water, right? Yes, and it's considered the most American thing that's ever been done by some people. The same people who'd probably call college students protesting for Gaza ugly terrorists. Yep. Or the people who lament destruction of property. I wonder if they've convinced themselves that dunking tea in water isn't technically destruction of property because it's what you're supposed to do with tea. I hope so. That would actually make me feel a little better about it. Somehow I doubt it. Right, and regardless, they still denounce destruction of property. But the Boston Tea Party, they literally escalated what the other tea parties had done. Like in Philadelphia and other places, they just sent the ships back to England without accepting the tea that they had brought. But in Boston, they stole the tea and dumped 342 cases of it into the Boston Harbor. I love that we have a specific number. $1.7 million in damage by today's numbers. Wow. I think every Fox News viewer in the country just pooped their pants a little bit. Right? And they consider themselves so American, the most American. But that's literally the protest that led to America seceding from Britain. I didn't know that. Yeah, not to be long winded. No, never to be long winded. Anyway, because of Boston's protests, Parliament voted to ban self-governance in Massachusetts and shut down Boston's commerce. And so that led to more protests, and that led to the First Continental Congress. Oh God, I've heard of that one. Right, she's iconic. But the 12 colonial delegates got together literally to figure out what to do about British being meaner imperialists than they were. Well, you can't let yourself be out-colonized by your own mother. No, you cannot. God, you're on a roll. Oh my God, I am. Anyway, they decided on an embargo against Britain. More evil, vile commerce blocking. Right, and they like appealed to Britain, but that failed. So they had another Continental Congress and decided to become united colonies and figured out that the majority of the people in the colonies stand revolution. I guess it's only intifada revolution when it's your own revolution. So true. Anyway, Suffolk County, Massachusetts passed the Suffolk Resolves, which boycotted British imports. A militia was formed. Britain called them rebels, and they were right. A broken clock is right twice a day. Depends on how broke it is. That is a different conversation. Right, and this skit is already way too long. So long. Okay, so Britain labels them as rebels. And they send secret soldier spies to destroy the colony's supplies. But the colonies find out about it because apparently their spies are better. Oh my god, is this Paul Revere's moment? The one and only. What a queen. Yells about soldiers coming and then disappears forever. Goals. Anyway, the first shots were fired around sunrise. I bet they were. Shut up. Okay, so the first shots were fired around sunrise in Kensington, but it wasn't until around 11 a.m. later in Concord that we got what Ralph Waldo Emerson calls the shot heard round the world. So many icons in one story. Yeah, history's like that. You know, America and Britain fighting each other is kind of like two evil genocidal bitches telling each other exactly with muskets and powdered wigs. What was your original point? I don't know. Hypocrisy and genocide. I love the new Biden-Harris slogan. Too real.